welcome to Reality TV Cringe. I am one of your hosts, Delia, here with my real tight homegirl, Beatrice, and we are gathered here today in the dumpster to talk about Sister Wives, bitch. We had another episode with a lot of talking, but so much was divulged. I've got a lot to say about it, honey.
Oh, girl, me too.
Before we get into it, we want to remind you, hide your wife, hide your kids. This is an inappropriate podcast. We have our own opinions and we do not apologize for it. Nope. If you are looking for a politically correct, sensitive podcast,
beat it.
This ain't the podcast.
No.
Go find yourself some other podcast. We speak it like we mean it.
Yes, ma'am, we do. Also, we have an Instagram at Reality TV Cringe, and we got a Patreon, patreon.com/Reality TV Cringe, with all that bonus content up on there.
Yes, ma'am. And if you are watching on YouTube, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Every little thing you do in the socials helps us to get found on the algorithm, so we really appreciate it. Thank you in advance.
Yes.
All right, let's get to Sister Wives Season 18, Episode 9, entitled The Battle Lines Are Drawn.
In the Civil War.
In the Civil War of divorce in the Brown family. And indeed, I say unto you, the battle lines really were drawn, don't you think?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, by Kody and Robyn.
Well, and the kids.
Some of the kids,
the kids, I think the kids spoke out. Like when the adults are talking about it or the parents are talking about it, I think they try to be very careful in how they're portraying the family dynamics. But when you have the kids speaking out, especially from a place of hurt, that's where I think we really start to learn some things.
Yeah, we get the honesty a little bit from the Browns, the stuff that the adults don't want to actually air out, but the kids are like, fuck this.
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go. Well, what are some of your major takeaways from the episode in general?
Well, Cody's an asshole. Like every episode,
he gets worse.
Like, he just gets worse and worse and worse. And I'm like,
wild.
I didn't know I could hate you more. But every episode, you're just such a piece of shit and such a bad dad. Calling his kids jerks. I'm like, okay, so you've called them narcissists, you've called them stupid, and now you're calling them jerks. All on national TV. But the wives are shit talking you? Okay.
Right.
Okay. That's rich.
Yeah.
I also liked how he admitted to having favorites in this episode.
Right. But then tried to qualify it.
Yeah.
There's a reason though.
It's loyalty. Loyalty.
Right.
But he admitted that he had a favorite wife because that's all he calls Robyn. Loyal, obedient, a good wife.
Well, some of my interesting observations were how angry he looks.
Yeah.
How red his skin is. How red the whites of his eyes are. Like there has been such a dramatic transformation, a physical transformation in Kody Brown. Not just his energy, not just his attitude, but his physical body. He just seems like a different person to me. And every week it's getting more toxic, more dark, and worse. I mean, I was a little bit agitated before I even turned on the episode because I'm like, here we fucking go again. Yeah. They're going to continue to try and gaslight us as if we haven't seen what we have seen with our own raccoon eyes. They're going to continue to just eke out the truth. And I'm kind of getting tired of it.
Yeah.
I'm like, just be honest. Open your mouth.
Right.
And be honest. I don't need your Instagram inspo motivational speak or Christine to be flapping on about how happy she is and how much I love divorce. No, I need to understand more. And can I just say this again? I know I've said this a few times on the pod, so everybody, I'm sorry, but I think it bears repeating regarding Christine.
Yeah.
Isn't it convenient now that she has the ability and the space, I guess, to start talking about polygamy as a family structure and how it is not healthy and how it really doesn't work, how she doesn't think it really works when she has spent season after season. In fact, I would argue she has been the biggest advocate and proponent for polygamy along with Kody. She has been very offended when anybody questioned their family and how they did their family. She's been interviewed. She's been on panels. Again, I wonder how many people were persuaded into the lifestyle because her and her big fat mouth were talking about how great it was.
Yeah.
And now in season 18, you can just say, oh, yeah, I don't like it.
Yeah, it's really a bad family structure. It's like, when did you feel that way? Because in the same breath, you're also saying that you guys had a really good family structure. And that was the whole reason why you went public with polygamy to begin with, was to show that it wasn't all about patriarchy and suppression and that it was a good thing. So You're contradicting yourself. And it would be nice if you could just be honest and be like, I used to believe in this, but after being married to Kody fucking Brown and experiencing this horrible marriage and the breakup of my family, I realized it's not a good thing. Like, just be honest that way.
Right.
But she can't even do that. And I've been reading comments online and on Reddits and everything of people actually being mad at her for the same reason.
Oh, okay.
And for saying that, there were so many women that she actually talked to who were trying to leave polygamy, and Christine would say, don't leave it. Like, it's your spiritual tenet and you should stay and blah, blah, blah. So it's like, okay, now that you can leave it and you're so happy about it and divorce is the best thing ever to ever happen to you, now you can sit there on your high horse and be like, yeah, polygamy's bad. But you lived it for the last 30 years and you put all of your kids through it.
I feel like she has a higher responsibility to go into detail as to why polygamy doesn't work, why it's toxic, why it's not good for women.
Yeah.
I feel like she owes so much more because she spent so much time repping it and advocating for it. And that just, it's still kind of sticking in my craw. The other thing I want to talk about before we get into this episode is just Robyn's daughters. I know there's a lot of people who are like, the kids are off limits, and I get it. And I would generally agree if they're minors, if they're young kids. But nobody can tell me that wasn't creepy. Nobody can tell me that Brianna and Aurora on the couch talking about what victims they are and how hard it's been for them wasn't so reminiscent of their mother, who does the exact same thing.
Yep.
And also deeply troubling. Yeah. Like Brianna in particular, when she's sitting there and we're watching her in the process of making Savannah of all people.
Yeah.
Making Savannah the villain.
Yeah.
And the reason why they ignore each other at school because they don't like me, because, they don't like us. And then crumbling into what I think is false crying, because we didn't see any tears because you covered your face and you said, please cut the cameras. I don't want anybody to see me crying. I'm like, oh my God. And I'm sad because here Brianna is a minor.
Yep.
I have compassion for her. She is so fucking sheltered.
Yeah.
She is riddled with anxiety, but she's also, I'm sorry, I'm just going to say it again. This is a controversial podcast. She fucking sounds and smells like a narcissist to me.
Yeah.
Like throwing tantrums so that people can feel sorry for her so that she can then gain an edge or gain power, just like her mother has learned how to do and how she does as an expert. Robyn does it as an expert.
Oh, yeah. What pissed me off the most about that is knowing that Robyn's behind the scenes coaching these girls and telling them what to say and how to feel. So that way they don't have any opinions or feelings of their own. Like, they only know the narrative that Robyn has conjured up for them, that the Browns hate them and that the kids don't love them and they didn't want them to be a part of the family. And it's like, that's not necessarily true. Some of these kids actually consider you guys siblings. Your mom's fucking evil. And your dad is a selfish piece of shit. Well, you're not a real dad, but you know what I mean. Cody.
Right. They're adopted. There's real children.
Yeah, well, I guess. But it's just like, that's what pissed me off about it, was that Robyn is making them into mini hers and they don't get to be their own people and form their own opinions about their family structure and what's actually happened here. They don't know the fucking truth. They just know what Robyn and Cody are telling them. Right. That's what bothered me about that.
She just struck me as emotionally debilitated, like unable to have an actual conversation about what might be happening in the family, according to her. Like, I'm just looking at a Robyn mini-me.
Yep.
And I feel really concerned for your future if this is how you think you're going to have to navigate in order to get along. Like, the world isn't going to care if you cry with your white woman tears.
Nope.
They're not going to care. You're going to have to fucking buck up, learn how to deal with shit, learn how to open your mouth and talk.
Yeah, and quit victim blaming yourself. Like, constantly.
I was taken aback. I'm all about vibes and energy. I'm just well, something's creepy. Yeah. Something's super creepy. And then Aurora, so maudlin and morose and depressive. I'm like, cheer the fuck up, girls. You're beautiful. You're young. The world is your oyster. You have your whole life ahead of you. And you're sitting on this couch looking like somebody's dying. Nobody's dying. These kids just want to exchange gifts with you.
Yes.
That's the worst that's happening, is that they want to exchange gifts with you and they don't want your dumbass, hoe-ass mom inserting herself into the conversation.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting me vent.
Yeah.
Let's get into the episode. All right. This episode starts at Garrison's house. Christina's coming over to cook them a meal, which is a salad, which doesn't require cooking, but I don't mean to split hairs.
I know.
And it's nice to see Christine with the kids. You can tell that Christine has genuine affection and love for the children. Savannah comes in to help her prepare her cooked meal of salad. And this is where we learn from Savannah that she doesn't miss her dad.
Nope. Not at all. Allegedly.
She doesn't even think about him. Mm-hmm. You know, he just doesn't call. He's not around. So I don't spend a whole lot of emotional labor wondering where Kody the fuck Brown is. And then Christine asks about her relationship with Brianna. Like, do you see Brianna at school? And Savannah says yes. But I mean, I don't talk to that bitch.
I don't talk to her at all. I don't even acknowledge that she exists. I'm like, damn. Mm-hmm. And they're like the closest in age.
Right.
And apparently Christine had no idea that they didn't have a relationship. Janelle starts to lie and say, well, they say hi to each other in the hall. Well, actually, no, they don't even do that.
Right.
They don't see anything. And this is where Brianna fake cries on the couch and says, I just wanted to be a part of their family. And I grew up with them and I love them. Okay. You can talk to her too, though.
Right.
Or you're not saying hi to her either.
Yes.
And you probably got a stank ass face too in the hallway,
mm-hmm.
which makes you unapproachable. Mm-hmm. Nobody wants to talk to you. So it goes both ways. But I'm sure she's going home to her mom and crying about it every day.
Savannah doesn't talk to me.
She's mean to me.
And my feeling is that it's probably Brianna that instigates it, because if Brianna is the girl that went into the fifth wheel and started making snide comments about Aurora's room being a dog bed and you really live here. Sorry. Savannah's room being a dog bed and making all of these terrible comments that would make Savannah feel bad, that makes me feel like that's the girl that you are.
Yep.
And that's probably what you're doing at high school too.
Yep.
And so, yeah, Savannah avoids you because that's mean girl energy.
For sure. And wasn't Brianna the little kid back in the early seasons during our rewatches where the other kids were like, yeah, if you just like touch her or like breathe near her, she'll start crying and act like you hit her. Yes. Like she's the one that causes a lot of drama. So she was even doing that as a little kid.
Robyn made a lot of excuses for her. Mm-hmm. She's sensitive. Yeah, okay. And so we have to coddle her. Well, this is the end result of coddling your child to this degree. And I do think there are sensitive children in families. I do think that there are empaths in families.
Of course.
And it's always the empath that's processing the energy and the dysfunction of the family over in a corner while also being the black sheep.
Right.
So I think she feels very deeply, but like equip her.
Right.
Give her some resources. Yeah. Teach her how to be empowered in her sensitivity. Don't just like coddle her and make her feel like she's a perpetual victim.
Right. And teach her to take everything personally, like her mom.
So bad. I just like, that's not being a good parent.
No, not at all.
Helicopter parenting is toxic parenting.
Yeah.
Then we bop over to Parowan, Utah, where we have a very needless and unnecessary segment with Meri Brown. Mm-hmm. She's clearing out her carriage house and she remembers a time when Cody used to help me. He used to yell at me as we were loading boxes. And there was a time I had a husband, but not anymore.
Not for many years.
Yep.
We get it, Meri. You've been abandoned and neglected by Kody Brown. Now leave.
Stop groveling.
God.
Do you have a humiliation fetish for yourself?
I mean,
what the fuck is going on?
It's really fucking weird, but she's there with her lesbian lover, Jen, and Jen's husband.
So I don't know if that works.
Maybe they have a threesome.
I doubt it. I highly, highly doubt it.
No, I just think about these things. I don't know why.
Well, I think this whole interaction set up the question to Sean, Jen's husband, which was, well, are you jealous that Jen has a friend who's a polygamist? Are you jealous of polygamy?
Yeah.
And then they start talking a little bit more about polygamy and Meri's stance on things. And she's like, well, it's nice to have friends who don't just look at me like I'm this thing or I have this label. Like they look at me because I'm an actual person. But isn't this also the part where she starts talking about the favorite wife? Because
a little bit, yeah.
Jen asks her husband, am I your favorite wife?
Yeah.
And then TLC uses that to have the conversation where Meri says to the camera, yeah, it doesn't work in polygamy to have a favorite wife. Like you're going to have to make sure that all wives feel taken care of. And is this where we bopped on over to Kody?
Well, we went to Janelle because Janelle says that men are not supposed to have favorite wives in polygamy. And she talks about the spiritual aspect of it. Like men are supposed to overcome their selfish desires. And then TLC with the chef's kiss edit bops on over to Kody. And Kody says, well, if polygamous men have favorites, it has to do with loyalty. Whoever's the most loyal will be the favorite. And whoever is not loyal, then they're like Teflon, and he cuts himself off.
Right.
And he's like, well, they're like Teflon. I mean, they're just hard to deal with.
Right.
So I'm like, that's a reference to fucking Janelle.
It is.
And the other 2 wives
Yes.
that you consider not loyal.
Right.
You piece of shit.
So obviously the AI is becoming self-aware.
Yeah.
So he is becoming aware that it is obvious that everybody knows, and he can no longer deny that he's favoring Robyn.
Right.
And so now he's going to stop denying it. And he's going to say, well, if I do, it's because she's loyal to the patriarchy. So of course I'm going to be loyal to her.
Yeah.
And every wife who is not loyal to me is a knife in the kidneys. All this time. Wasted. Waiting for you to be loyal to me. Go to hell, Kody Brown.
Go to hell.
Cannot stand it. Then we learn back at Garrison's house that Gwen and Gabe actually are going to be moving into his house. They're going to be roommates. Christine's like, this ain't going to work because, again, I reiterate, they've got big political differences with, I'm sure, Gwen being turbo left.
Yep.
Garrison being turbo right. And then poor Gabe maybe in the center, but you can't be in the center in this climate.
Nope.
Silence is violence, Gabe. Silence is violence. So how do you think that's going to, do they even stay together?
I don't think so, because she meets Bea at some point. So then she moves in with Bea and they get married. They U-Haul lesbians.
Then we sit down for the salad cooked dinner and Christine explains that Truly is with Cody, that she comes into town periodically for work, which I think she means to sit down with production and film her talking heads.
Yeah.
And when she does, Truly could visit with Cody, but he really never asks for her. He never does. So this time she called him and said, hey, can you babysit? And so he said, yeah, can she spend the night? And the answer is yes. And so Truly's over there. But that was a whole thing because then she gets into how she's preserved her relationship for Truly. Tell me what you thought about this.
This part, I've watched this episode 3 times today. And every time I watch this, I'm like trying to give Christine the benefit of the doubt here because I'm like, maybe she worded it weird, but I'm like, no, that's kind of a fucked up way to say that you think this is better for their relationship. And I don't know, maybe it's because she views Cody as like a narcissist, a toxic person. And so she wants to, quote, preserve the relationship with Truly that Truly thinks she has with her dad. Because Christine says this to the older kids at the salad cooked dinner, that Truly thinks she has a good relationship with her dad. So that implies that Christine doesn't think it's that good of a relationship. And so she wants to, quote, preserve that by moving her away and keeping Truly away from her dad most of the time. But I'm like, I don't know what you're getting at there.
She's trying to take the responsibility and accountability off of her. She's making an excuse for a parental decision, which actually is probably going to do a bit of damage to Truly.
For sure.
And she is complicit and has a part in that.
But then, I mean, was Cody really seeing Truly very much when they were in Flagstaff? So what's the difference, really?
Probably nothing. But like, don't set it up to be this conscious choice that you made to remove her so that she could preserve a great relationship with her father. She didn't have one.
Right.
And I doubt Truly even felt that she did.
Yeah.
Truly seems like a prescient and very smart kid.
Yeah.
So I doubt that she thought that she had a great relationship with Kody Brown. Like, this is the thing I'm talking about. Like, talking around and trying to make something look better than it needs to be.
Right.
You can just say, like, yeah, you know, I had to leave and I feel really bad and I should have told Truly ahead of time and I should have prepared her and I feel really bad. And so I will do whatever I can to make sure that she has time with Cody.
Right.
But she can't say it like that.
No,
she has
she
to
can't.
say, I preserved this relationship. I was actually thinking about Truly.
It's a good thing. While I was moving her away from everybody she knows in her old school district and everything,
Right.
It's like, no, it's kind of a big deal to move
It
your
is
kid.
a big deal. And I think Truly felt that.
Yeah,
Probably
for sure.
felt that deeply. I think this is around the time Janelle asks the table of kids, like, hey, have any of you talked to Cody or seen Cody? And they all say no. And Gabe says, you know, Dad said that he likes to spend time with the little kids. He doesn't really want to spend time with the old kids anymore. And this is kind of what launches us into this conversation with the kids about Kody and Robyn. And before we get into it and some of the things that were said, I do just want to say that I felt like this was orchestrated.
Totally.
And not by Janelle. I think Janelle participated and wanted her kids to be able to say whatever they wanted to say. But it really felt like Christine was drawing information out of the various kids so that it could be said on camera. It felt a bit manipulative to me. Am I the only one?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, Christine introduced the whole dinner like that. She's like, I wanted to have this dinner with the older kids without Truly and the littles around so that way they could express their feelings in a safe environment. Like, she said that the beginning of this whole thing. And I'm like, why? It's kind of weird to have this whole conversation on camera. I mean, I guess I get it in the sense of nobody's been honest on camera, so we don't know the full story. We don't know how anybody feels. And we have been talking on the podcast about how we wish we could hear more from the older kids and how they actually feel. So maybe that's why she orchestrated it, because she's like, I know this is going to be good on the TLC cameras. I know this is going to get a lot of views.
I kind of felt like everybody knew the conversation was going to go down before they even went over for dinner. So I think the kids had prepared themselves for it. I think that's maybe why Gabe was shut down a little bit, because I don't think Gabe necessarily wanted to participate at the level, for example, Gwen and Garrison were going in. Garrison had some things to say.
He did.
Most definitely. Like, he starts out saying, look, I bought a house. I went to school. I purchased that car Dad said I should never purchase. And I've done all of this. And he has no idea. All of these accomplishments, these like huge milestones in my life. And my father has no idea because he doesn't fucking call me.
Yep.
He doesn't care about me. He hasn't checked on me. And that's sad.
Well, and then the edit brings up Cody and his talking head being like, well, I have reached out to Garrison. I reached out to him once before Christmas and then sometime after, and they have me blocked. So they're the ones that don't want to talk to me.
I thought the phone went both ways, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was lying
Yeah.
in that situation. You can't tell me that Gabe at this point has blocked Cody's number,
Right.
or that if you called Gabe, like Gabe would not have been open, or even Savannah, open to picking up the phone and having a conversation with you. I feel like Gabe would really love to have that conversation with you. Maybe Garrison is a bit closed off right now.
Right now, yeah.
Maybe, but I still think there's an opening with Garrison.
I don't think he has them blocked. That means they're probably ignoring your calls, because why bother?
He's not calling.
No, he's not calling or
He's
texting.
not calling.
He's not doing anything.
In the next scene, we get into the Christmas chat. And so Christine's like, I was busy. I was moving. I was living my hot girl summer, my hot girl autumn. Yeah. And so I don't really know what happened, although she does, because she had said a few episodes ago that this is the sort of thing that happened. It was the line that was drawn in the sand. So she knew about it.
Yep.
But she wants to ask on camera what happened. And this is where we get into the conversation about the chat. And why don't you take it from there? Because it felt pretty convoluted, and I didn't necessarily understand everything.
Well, yeah, a lot of people online are talking about this. Like, the timeline's kind of weird because Christine says Aspen started the chat, and then a couple episodes ago, it was Mykelti who started the chat, or Logan who started the chat. So it's like, okay, who started it? I don't care.
Right.
But it obviously was started. And the kids get into it and say that they were the ones talking about their annual gift exchange. They've been doing this for 20 years. It's been a tradition. They wanted to include Robyn's crotch goblins, and they included him. And they asked, and Robyn piped in and said, well, let's do it over Zoom. The kids, according to Gwendlyn, said that wasn't very personal. They would like to do something all together.
This is where I was confused, because what was the alternative that the kids wanted to meet in person?
Well, they didn't want to get into what the alternatives were.
Then COVID came into it.
Yeah.
And it was the COVID rules, and we're trying to accommodate the COVID rules. So it sounded to me like the kids all wanted to get together, and Robyn was the one who proposed Zoom.
Yeah.
And then Gwen said something like, well, that's not really very personal. And Robyn said something like, well, Ariella doesn't even know what you look like.
Yeah.
And then started to talk about her trauma or something like that.
She brought up the trauma, and that's probably where people got triggered, because Gwen's kind of bothered by this. She's like, bitch, what trauma? You're the favorite wife. Like, nobody is inflicting any trauma onto you. Like,
Except you.
If anything, we're all fucking traumatized by all of this because our dad doesn't love us anymore. But yeah, apparently Robyn brought all that up. Then some hurt feelings came up from other members of the group, is what it sounds like happened, in terms of like people being upset by the COVID rules and how they were all treated during COVID. And Robyn takes that personally, like she takes everything. And then that was when she ended it and said, well,
I don't
fuck
think
this.
that even happened because
That's what they're saying.
No, I don't. They didn't say that they were bringing up COVID and how hurt they were. They were saying that Robyn used COVID as a catalyst to become exclusive with their father, and that when she brought up COVID, Garrison is saying, well, we were saying, no, that's not what we're trying to do. We're just trying to figure out a way that we can do this gift exchange. So It sounded to me from Garrison's point of view, like he wasn't trying to bring out like all of the fucking old offenses and issues, but it was Robyn who was bringing up trauma and rules and the kids don't even know you. So I don't even know if the kids were trying to hash that shit out.
They probably weren't. She probably brought up COVID, but I think when Garrison was saying that Robyn used COVID as a catalyst, he was saying that in the grand scheme of things, like not in the actual text chat, but she must have brought it up or somebody must have brought it up to make Robyn blow up on like that. That's why I want to see this fucking
Give
group
me
chat.
the fucking receipts.
Somebody hack their phones and get this group chat.
Payton, I feel like you want to just drop the receipts, Payton. Like,
Please,
let us see it so we can formulate our own opinions.
Yes.
Because it sounds really pathological for Robyn to insert herself into a conversation that is meant for kids, even though maybe parents were invited into it, and suddenly start talking about her trauma and how hard it has been for her and her kids to be integrated into this family. Excuse me, ma'am, this is a Wendy's.
Yes.
We're talking about gift exchange. What are you talking about your trauma for? But you remember in this scene, Garrison's like, and then Robyn, through this process that she does inside of her head, turned it into her being a victim. And Gabe's like, yep, and started to gaslight us to make us believe that she deserved special treatment. And then I think Christine asks Garrison, so would you be open to having a conversation face to face with Robyn? And he's like, absolutely not.
He's like, I'm not even emotionally mature enough for that. And I just don't want to deal with that. Like, fuck that.
Yeah.
And I felt that. Like, it seems like the kids don't have a problem with Robyn's kids per se. They've all have a problem with Robyn and how she's dealt with all of this shit. And Robyn and her kids are sitting there saying on their talking heads that somehow the Brown kids spilled that they were going to have Christmas without them, without telling them. I'm like, what are you talking about?
How would they have spilled that to you?
If they're including you in this group chat for this gift exchange.
And seemingly want to meet up with you in person, probably while they're all at the B&B.
Yeah. So how did you gather that all from the group chat?
Her mother. And remember, Aurora's sitting there talking about the group chat and says, essentially, it was brought to our attention that there have been some negative things said about us with the siblings. Well, we all know that it was Robyn who brought that to your attention.
Right. So she's stirring the pot with all of these kids and creating this unnecessary drama because she feels personally attacked by the Brown family. And like she says in her little couch session, she says, me and my kids feel like we've been voted off the Brown family island. Like, what are you talking about? The Brown kids
are literally trying
to include your kids in this whole Christmas family thing. And then you're the one that cuts it off.
Yes, you're the one who says, I don't want to talk about this anymore. And then you send your little fucking parrot, Mykelti, and you ask Logan to go to the rest of the kids and say that Robyn doesn't want to talk anymore. Gwen says Robyn doesn't want to talk to us anymore, period. Garrison says Robyn doesn't want to talk about the Christmas thing anymore. It's just not going to happen. Robyn says this is where, like, I'm never going to win. They're always going to see me as the bad guy. So I'm just going to remove myself from the situation.
Again, not taking any accountability for your part in this. And this is where I was watching this. I'm like, look, even if you came into this family with good intentions of wanting your kids to have this big, beautiful family life, and like you wanted to come in as the fourth sister wife and be a good person and like be a good addition to the whole family. Like, even if you came in with those intentions, you're still not taking accountability for your lack of care of the rest of these people's feelings. Like, it's a hard thing to have to blend a family, and it's a hard thing to have to blend a family when you're the favorite wife and like the other wives feel like they're neglected and these children feel like they're neglected
because they are.
They
don't just feel like that. They are.
And they're watching their mom's marriages crumble before them because of the shit that you are involved in. And rather than take any accountability for it and be like, look, I'm so sorry.
Or
like,
I can see how that it looks that way, or I can see how this has not been fair.
Right. You can't even do that.
Not a little, not even a little.
Victim. And it made me think of like my own life, because when my parents divorced, it was a really messy dramalicious divorce. My parents did not like each other. They still do not like each other to this day. And my step-parents hate each other. My stepmom in particular had a lot of drama with us. There was one year, well, actually,
so the Robyn of your family?
Yes, a little bit. A little bit. She's not as Machiavellian as Robyn is, though. But there was a couple years where there was, quote, drama because my dad and my stepmom felt like me and my sister were not accepting my stepmom and we didn't like her and we were too bratty. And so they would cut off holiday visitation with us. 2 days before Thanksgiving one year, they texted us saying, we don't want you guys here for Thanksgiving. It was our year to be with them. Same thing with Christmas that year.
Like because you weren't loving your stepmom enough?
Yeah, we weren't being nice
loving
enough.
her hard enough?
We were 13 and 10.
Right.
I mean, and our parents were going through a really messy, toxic ass divorce. So like, I mean, can you blame us? We were teenagers and we had attitude, but rather than talk to us about it, they did what Kody and Robyn are doing, which is blame us for...
And then cut you off.
Yeah.
And then say, blame you for it not happening.
Yes. And then to this day say that was the reason why our relationship faltered. And like, rather than take any accountability for acting like immature fucking adults, they just act like, well, it's the both sides. Like they've used that argument too with like the phone calls and stuff and not making any effort.
It's really not. You're the parent.
Exactly.
The onus is on you, the responsibility. I mean, I'm sorry, but I know you're expected to do more because you're the parent, but like you decided to have children and bring them into the world. And so this is your job.
Right.
Your literal job is to take care of your family and to go the extra mile to make sure that your kids are okay.
Right.
And that you're seeing them, even if it's hard.
Yes.
Even if they're mad because their whole family life has been exploded.
Right. And even if you are mad at them for whatever reason, you need to be the bigger person as the adult in the situation and learn how to handle it. Not just say, fuck you, you guys are jerks. I don't want you over. Like, we're not going to get together as a family because you guys won't talk to us about these issues. It's like, whoa, dude. Kody and Robyn are wild to me.
They are wild. And you know, this whole conversation finally tipped me over into, it really was Robyn who wanted the apology from the boys.
Yes.
Because why are you introducing the subject of your trauma into the Christmas gift exchange chat unless you want that fucking apology?
Yep.
There's no other reason for it. And then when Garrison says, and she's mad because we don't care anymore. In other words, we've dropped the rope.
Yeah.
We're not going to continue in this emotional tug of war. We've dropped the rope. You can have the fucking rope.
Yep.
You can go be over there, be happy. We don't care. And that is what is making Robyn mad, according to Garrison, because now she's not in the mix.
Yep.
She's not still doing her manipulations and she doesn't know what to do with herself. Now it really is just you, Robyn, in that fucking McMansion with your emotionally debilitated children and your fucking weird husband, incel MGTOW husband. This is your life. Congratulations. You played yourself.
You fucking won, I guess. And this is where Garrison says to the camera, to the kids, like, hey, Aurora, Brianna, Dayton, Ariella, and whatever, Solomon, if you guys want to have a relationship with us, we're always open. We will always be open. You guys can always talk to us. Like, we love you. We forgive you. And they even say that to Robyn too. They're like, we forgive you guys. Like, let's just fucking work this out and like try to be a family. They have to say that shit on camera because Kody and Robyn and the rest of the kids don't want to hear it from them.
Right.
Which is messed up.
And they want to continue on their campaign of they don't love us.
Right.
They voted us off the island. And so unless they sit on a couch and say, we love you. And Garrison also said, and we forgive you.
Yeah.
Which made me wonder. And I thought he was talking to the siblings there.
He talked to Robyn too.
Was it to Robyn? Okay. So I forgive you. And I want to have a relationship with you, but I will not chase you anymore. Yes. Not going to chase you.
Yep.
And that's what Robyn needs, honey.
Yeah.
Damsel in distress.
Yes.
She needs to be chased. Wow. A lot of interesting things came out. Also, Gwen made the comment, imagine having a dad who loves you.
I know. That's
and then
so
Savannah finally spoke up and said, I think he does love you.
Yeah.
And then she wanted to continue to speak up. And then Garrison shut her down and said, no, there's too much drama. And Janelle's like, no, let her speak.
Yeah.
And so she finished and said, I think he does love you, Gwen. He's just mad at you for some unknown reason.
I wonder what it is.
She's gay.
Really?
She's
it that?
gay. Well,
I thought he was accepting of Leon when they came out as gay.
But he has no relationship with Leon.
Well, that's
and
true.
The rumors
of the transition, though.
But the rumors have said that since Leon's transition, Kody and Robyn are not supportive and don't want to be around Leon or Leon's partner. And so I wouldn't be a bit surprised, let's just say. I'm not saying this is what it is, but like I wouldn't be a bit surprised if there was some inherent tension between Gwen and her family or Kody and Robyn because of her sexuality. I don't know. I hope not, because that's terrible.
That's really fucked up.
But what else could it be?
Right. What else would
Gwen
it be?
here is 19 years old. Like, what the fuck has she done?
Yeah. Well, obviously they make it up if she's now getting money from Robyn and Cody. And
that's because she has a
rah, rah, rah
Patreon.
for him.
And she knows, they know, Robyn and Cody know how many people actually follow Gwen and Mykelti, how everything they say is then disseminated by Without a Crystal Ball or soapdirt.com. Anything she says, Gwendlyn says, is picked up by the press and will get back to them and paints them in a certain kind of light. So that's why he gave her money. And maybe he's bribing, or maybe it was a gift. What do I know? I'm not in the family, but that's maybe why they gave her money, because everybody's listening to what these kids are saying.
So they're just doing the same thing that they're accusing Christine and Janelle of doing.
Yeah.
Using their kids to form a narrative about them to make them look better, because they don't want to be on Instagram or any social media and face the music, which is everybody calling them out on their crap.
Yes, that would be my guess. All right, moving on now. We have the other needless scene that I didn't need in my consciousness of Mykelti going to visit Kody and Robyn for Avalon's first birthday. Although Avalon is so cute. She's cute as a
chubby
button.
So cute.
Oh my God, it's just so cute.
So
with her
smiley.
chubby little leggies and stuff.
God.
When babies have that baby line on their legs, and then I was like,
dimples. Oh my God.
Super cute. Cody says something interesting, because he says that Robyn and Mykelti have a close relationship because he and Christine didn't notice kind of what was going on with Mykelti. And apparently the older kids were not that nice to Mykelti. So Robyn noticed this and took Mykelti under her wing, which Christine also corroborates.
Yeah.
And says that's true. And we know that Mykelti spent a lot of time with Robyn, watching Robyn's kids because she needs a nanny, honey.
Yeah.
But that is how they forged their relationship. What did you think of this scene?
I mean, it's kind of wholesome. It like shows a little bit of what Robyn could be, like a good person, that she could care for the rest of the kids. I don't know why she held so tightly on to Mykelti. Maybe because Mykelti kind of was the black sheep of the family.
She's dumb.
Yeah, she's dumb.
Easily manipulatable.
She's totally easily manipulated. But also,
Sorry,
Cody
that's so
talks
rude.
about
I was dumb at that age. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, we all were. But Cody also talks about the reason why Mykelti is still close with Robyn and Cody is mainly because of Tony. Because Tony and Robyn are apparently BFFs.
Okay.
And like super close. And Ethel was talking to me about this today, and she called Tony an ass licker.
100% is he an
He's
ass
a
licker?
Total ass licker.
Yes.
Yeah.
I bet they've gotten money from Cody and Robyn just as
Oh,
Gwen has as well.
totally,
Yeah, I
yeah.
think they're trying to pay off these kids with Patreons.
Yep. Totally.
100%. After that, we move to, I think, the final scene where Christine is celebrating her ex anniversary, baby. There's 2 dates that she celebrates. Her divorce date, which is the date that she told Kody Brown to come and get your stuff.
Yep.
You better call Tyrone. Tell him, come get your shit. Come get your stuff. And then the other day is their actual anniversary. So
Yeah.
I hope she doesn't continue to celebrate that while she's married to David, because that's inappropriate.
Totally. It's kind of cringe.
I can see why she would want to celebrate getting away from that asshole.
I mean, I guess it's just this whole thing is just a little cringy, and her just talking about how great divorce is. And I'm like, well, it's only great in this context. You leaving a narcissistic, abusive person. Divorce isn't always that great. It's not good for your kids. It's not good for the family. Like, it's kind of a shitty thing, but she's like, it's so awesome.
I highly recommend it. I'm not a psychiatrist or a counselor or anything,
but
but
leave your husbands.
Leave your husband. You don't need to be miserable. And then on the other hand, she's also saying, ending a marriage is hard.
Yeah, I know. It's like,
Ending
what
a
is
marriage
it?
is hard with your family.
Yeah.
Ending a marriage is hard when you tell the world. I mean, it's just, okay, Christine, pipe down a little bit.
For real.
I just, too many words coming out of your pie hole, Christine.
Yep.
And here was another, it felt to me very produced and manufactured scene where she's getting these women who I don't know that she knows that well. And
TLC
Janelle certainly
plants.
doesn't know any of these bitches.
Yeah.
She's curating this experience so that she can further talk about Cody and how happy she is and how she doesn't want him anymore and why their marriage fell apart, and introducing or inviting rather Janelle into the conversation as well.
Yep.
Which Janelle doesn't do.
I know. I did like that a bit because these women that Janelle has never met before in her life are just asking her really personal questions of like, are you going to leave Cody? Are you uncomfortable with talking about Cody? Like, what's your life like with him? And Janelle's like, it's fine.
What's your name again?
Like, who are you? Like, I'm not going to just spill all my shit. And I think she says like, she doesn't want to be seen as weird, but I'm like, no, you're uncomfortable and that's totally fine. And you're kind of a private person. There's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to spill your beans. I mean, I know you're spilling it over TLC.
But not even that. She's still pretty careful.
She is.
She allows her kids to speak. She doesn't really say a whole lot. And even in the preview for next week, she's like, if he would just treat me great, I'd stay with him.
Right. That's all it is. But he can't even do that. I mean, she talks about like how she doesn't even think that they're really married anymore. Mm-hmm. They don't really have anything to salvage. I mean, that's what she said last episode when they went to go have dinner at Mariposa. So I don't know. I felt bad for Janelle in this whole conversation because
Janelle is me.
Yeah.
That is how I am. And I don't know what happened to me because in my 20s, I swear I was a social butterfly. I was going out every single weekend. I was having Long Island iced teas with my friends.
Yeah.
Dancing on the bar.
Yeah.
And I just loved going out and talking to people. And now all these years later, I'm like, is that person talking to me?
For real.
Is that person even looking at me right now?
Yeah.
I don't want to go out. I just certainly don't want to go to the club. I don't even want to go to a restaurant. I don't want to talk. I don't ever pick up a phone. You know this.
Yeah, you don't even answer my calls.
I don't talk to anybody. I won't answer my husband's calls. I'm like, if it's an emergency, just text me 911.
Yep.
I don't like people that much. And so I can just see Janelle sitting in a corner like, oh God.
This is embarrassing.
Yapping ladies talking about my life. No, thank you. I mean, Christine, if you want to talk about your life and say all the things you want to, I don't feel a sense of obligation for Cody. I don't feel loyal to him. Like, have at it. I don't care. But I'm just going to sit here and drink my glass of wine. Thanks.
Yep. And my free food, because I'm sure Christine's paying for all of it.
Or TLC, probably. TLC wants this. Yeah.
But this whole thing was just hella cringe.
And then Cody called.
I know. What the heck was that about?
Well, I just heard that she was in town and I thought, well, I love my daughter so much, who I haven't seen for 17 months. I love my daughter so much. So I thought maybe I could see Truly. Or it's your anniversary. Yeah. She's been gone for a little bit of time. Maybe now's the time to give her a little ringy dingy and see if she's open to some kind of reconciliation.
Yeah, which is very weird. But then in his talking head,
bitch,
he's straight up saying, Christine came up to me. She basically forced me to marry her. I don't even care that she left.
How does he say that with a straight face out of his big dumb mouth?
But he does admit when she left, it hurt a little bit, but now I don't care.
Right. Like, I just care that she's trash talking me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like Christine at, I don't know, 19 or 20 years old, when she met you, literally forced you, a grown-ass man with 2 other wives, to marry her. Like you had absolutely no interest. You were repulsed by her. You never wanted her. You can't stand her. You hate her. Like, come on, my guy. This is ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. And you had 6 kids with her. Yeah. Like you obviously did
love her. She
forced
me to put my pee-pee, my needle, my pencil into her, you know, and have a bunch of babies. She forced me. Knife in the kidneys. He is
so ridiculous.
Butthurt, dude.
Oh, 100%.
100% butthurt all the time, thinking about Christine. He should be butthurt about Janelle.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But I mean, I don't think he thinks that Janelle's going to leave at this point. I think he's still like
on the couch. You don't think?
No, I think he's like still thinking that she'll come around because she's left him before. They've been separated before. So he's just probably thinking it's like how it was the last few times. But with Christine, it's very interesting to watch him talk about this and like say, well, I don't give a shit. She forced herself into this marriage. When just like 2 episodes ago, Janelle says that that's common in polygamy, that actually the women are the ones that approach the men and say that they had a spiritual conviction to join their family. So Christine did what a good polygamist woman does.
Right.
Goes to your family and says, I feel drawn to your family. I want to be married.
Heart of the father.
Heart of the father. And Christine says in her little divorce ex-party thing that she knew Cody for like 3 years before they ever actually dated.
I didn't know that.
I know. I'm like, okay, that's a long time.
You can't tell me he wasn't courting her.
He was.
He
totally
was.
had
He
to
absolutely
been.
was.
So you trying to rewrite history and frame it like you hated her this whole entire time and you don't care that she left. Meanwhile, you're acting like a bitch baby on television.
Bitch baby.
Whining about her leaving and talking crap about your family. If you didn't care, why do you care what she's saying about you behind your back?
Right.
Why do you care?
Well, he's going to say, I care because she's persuading my children.
Whatever.
She's making my children feel some kind of way about me. And so I'm upset about that. That's not what he's upset about. He's upset that he can't control the situation anymore. But also, I think he's upset because he has historically felt that she was beneath him to some degree. I think it's pride. I think it's ego. And he can't control anything, and he doesn't have her money. And then now Janelle's going, and he doesn't have her money. And now Meri's going to go, and he doesn't have her money. It's only you and Robyn who doesn't make you no money. And your shit is precarious, my friend.
Yeah.
Like, your shit is shitty, because once this is all said and done, and we have the wedding special with David and Christine, and all of the people have dispersed around the nation, is there really any space on TLC for Robyn and Cody?
No.
Do you think Brianna and Aurora and their dating shenanigans or their schooling adventure is going to keep the interest of these feral raccoons?
No.
The answer is no.
Nobody gives a shit unless you are courting somebody from Brazil and we get to see the fallout of that.
Yes, you being humiliated.
That's the only time I care.
I just want to see you being humiliated.
Yes.
I don't care about wholesome content, which is not real. We have invested so many seasons and so many years with you guys just lying straight to our face. And so unless it's true, unless it's authentic, I don't have any interest at all to do any of it.
Nope.
That leads us to the preview. This is the season preview. Like the rest of the season, we've got some interesting things that are going to happen. First and foremost, Janelle's relationship continues to fall apart.
Yep.
Looks like she's getting that divorce. We see Meri in her haunted B&B saying that this is my safe space. My walls are up.
Oh God,
my B&B walls are up. I'm in my safe space. And she is going to be spending her anniversary alone.
Again, probably.
Again, it's not like the first time.
Yeah, jeez.
We see that Cody visits Janelle's new apartment. Thank God she gets a new apartment.
It looks nicer. It looks bigger.
A little bit. The other one was so depressing.
God.
And he comes to the realization there's just no space for him and his girls.
Whatever, dude. Framing the whole thing for him to be a victim again.
We see Cody saying that there's nothing that's going to separate him from Robyn.
Yeah, I wonder what that context is.
I don't know. We see that Cody is telling Meri that he has no desire to stay in a relationship with her out on Coyote Pass.
Yeah.
She's looking at him in his eye, being more direct than we've seen her in a while, saying, I know you can love me again.
Because you did love me.
You did love me. And Cody's like, I cannot be what you want me to be.
Yikes.
Thank you for telling the truth.
Yep.
And then Meri looks at Robyn and says, this isn't fair. Like, I've been alone for years and I can't keep doing this. And this must be the scene where she's like, I'm bouncing. I'm going full time back to Parowan. And then we get Robyn
crying.
My dreams. Sitting on the porch with my sister. Heartbreak after heartbreak. And why I'm so confused. Yeah. I don't know why it's happening. I'm such a good person and I don't know everybody. Why? Fuck you, Robyn.
I know.
Fuck you. And Meri says, screw him. He's not worth it.
Yes, ma'am. Finally.
Based.
I can't wait to see that. I wonder if that's going to be the season finale. That conversation.
I don't know. I'm feeling like if this ends in a month or so, which it's supposed to, I'm like, oh my gosh, I want so much more.
Me too.
I want it to continue on through November and December. I want to continue to see, like, bring us up to speed.
Yes.
We're still in like early 2022 as we're watching this in fall of 2023. Bring us up. Catch us up, TLC.
Catch us up, please. And there better be some fucking tell-alls. I swear to God, if what they're doing during this season by having these people on their separate couches listen to each other say shit on the season, if that's
that's what they're gonna do.
If that's it,
that's what they're doing right now.
Tell-all, but they have to have a tell-all.
Yeah, but they're going to do it like they did the last tell-all, where they just film somebody first and then have the next person respond to what this person said. They're going to do it the exact same way. I don't know why. It would make for infinitely better television if you have them all in a room screaming at each other. Yes. Or as soon as Robyn tries to lie out of that big fucking mouth of hers, Christine be like, no, bitch, that's not how that happened. And then the producers can actually play a clip of what did happen.
That would be great.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
But I'm just worried that what they're doing during the season is going to replace a tell-all. Like, they're not going to have a tell-all.
Oh.
Because I could see them doing some stupid shit like that. But I don't know. After the uproar from last year's tell-all, what everybody
Do you think it was sufficient uproar? Do you think TLC got the message?
Yes. People were commenting on Sukiana's Instagram
she
and
was
calling
getting
her
it.
out.
She was getting it.
They were on TLC saying the same thing. They were all up on YouTube and the Reddit. So, like, there was an uproar. I just hope that TLC listens to that and at least gets us a new host.
They won't.
And has a better tell-all.
They won't.
Listen, I don't need your bullshit.
I'm going to be right.
I don't need your... No, you were right last time.
Don't get your hopes up. It's going to be bad. It's going to be a disappointment. It is every single year. The best host that they had was Tamron Hall.
Yeah.
And then she got fired because, I don't know, she was too direct, or maybe Cody didn't want her anymore. Sukiana sat there while Cody was, in my opinion, physically aggressive in his body language and how he talked to this woman who's like I think a pretty esteemed journalist, actually. Like, Kody Brown is calling the shots, and I don't know why he's calling the shots. He literally has no power. The emperor has no clothes. You can just tell this bitch, if you don't show up for the reunion as we want to shoot it, then you don't get paid for the entire season. Build that into the contract. Have him and his dumb mistress sign the contract, and then if they walk out or if they don't show up, they don't get paid. What do you think they're going to do?
I mean,
they're going to show up.
Yeah.
If they're not going to get paid and it's in their contract.
Broke.
Yeah. And they need this show more than the show needs them.
For sure.
So build out a contract that benefits the audience, TLC, you despicable corporate entity. Everything wrong with capitalist society, TLC. We're paying for it all.
Yes.
We're the ones watching your dumb ads. We're the ones who care. So listen to what your audience is actually saying.
Please.
Enough of the lies.
Yes. God damn.
All right, let me settle down a little bit. All right, so we have more episodes. At least we've got more of a story to tell in the Sister Wives universe. And guess what, raccoons? We're here for it.
We are.
We may bitch and moan. We may complain, but we're watching every single moment 3 times.
Oh yeah,
taking
at least
notes
3 times.
And thoroughly enjoying it.
Yeah.
We will be back later this week to talk about Plathville, another crazy fundamentalist broken family.
Yep.
And also The Last Resort, 90 Day Fiancé, The Last Resort, filled with upstanding people of great integrity. So make sure you look for that on YouTube, obviously on podcast platforms. We have the uncensored version of everything on our Patreon. Now, is there anything else that we need to say to these beautiful raccoons beyond royals?
Well, if you love our podcast, I sure hope that you leave us a glowing, beautiful 5-star review on your favorite podcast platform, or all of them. It would really help us grow the pod, so thank you.
Thank you so much, and until next time, peace.